Aramark's Drug-Free Workplace Act policy. Purpose. Aramark is committed to the maintenance of a drug-free workplace and ensuring compliance with the Drug-Free Workplace Act of 1988. This policy prohibits reporting to the workplace under the influence of alcohol or drugs, being under the influence of alcohol or drugs during working hours, and the manufacturing, distributing, dispensing, possessing, using, selling, offering for sale, or trade of alcohol or drugs in any manner in the workplace or during working hours in compliance with applicable federal, state, and local law. Aramark has an obligation to its clients to provide high-quality service and an obligation to its associates to provide a safe and productive place to work. Aramark believes that associate use, possession, or distribution of alcohol or drugs in the workplace can adversely affect the work environment, associate job performance, workplace safety, and Aramark's business. Aramark's policy is intended to comply with all federal, state, and local laws governing drug, alcohol testing, and to safeguard associate privacy to the fullest extent possible. Nothing in this policy is intended or should be construed to conflict with or supersede Department of Transportation fleet policies affecting regulated drivers. Note, this policy does not affect Aramark's ability to engage in the lawful sale, distribution, or use of any alcoholic beverages pursuant to its business and or contractual obligations or otherwise in the ordinary course of its operations. Scope. This policy applies to all Aramark associates and prospective associates in the United States. Responsibility. Each Aramark manager has the responsibility to enforce standards of the Drug-Free Workplace Act as outlined in this policy. Next slide. Policy process. Definitions. Alcohol means the intoxicating agent in beverage alcohol, ethyl alcohol, or other low molecular weight alcohols, including methyl and isopropyl alcohol. Aramark manager means the Aramark location manager or other Aramark manager responsible for hiring and for ensuring compliance with the policy at a particular Aramark location. Confirm positive means a test result that demonstrates the current use of alcohol or drugs which, in the opinion of the medical review officer, cannot be sufficiently explained by the associate or prospective associate. Drug includes any controlled substance and or intoxicant. Controlled substance includes any drug which is not legally obtainable under current federal law or which is legally obtainable but has not been legally obtained. The term includes prescribed drugs not legally obtained and prescribed drugs legally obtained but not being used as prescribed by a healthcare provider or for prescribed purposes. Intoxicant includes any substance introduced into the body that may result in an alteration of mental and or physical capabilities. Associate means any current associate of Aramark in the United States, including a minor, whether active or on leave of absence. Federal contractor means any United States executive department, military department, government corporation, government-controlled corporation, any other establishment in the executive branch, or any independent regulatory agency with which Aramark has contracted to provide services. Minor means any individual who has not reached the age of 18. Prospective associate means any applicant, including a minor, to whom Aramark has made a conditional offer of employment. Under the influence means to be affected by a drug or alcohol or the combination of a drug and alcohol. The symptoms of being under the influence are not confined to those consistent with misbehavior, nor to obvious impairment of physical or mental ability, such as slurred speech or difficulty in maintaining balance. A determination of being under the influence may be established through documented observation by a professional opinion or by a scientifically valid test. Workplace means any location, whether owned or operated by Aramark, its client, or a third party, where an associate performs any work, including, but not limited to, next slide, a location where an associate performs work, the site for the performance of work done by Aramark in connection with a specific contract or grant at which associates of Aramark are prohibited from engaging in the unlawful manufacture, distribution, dispensing, possession, or use of any alcohol or drug. An Aramark leased fleet vehicle or any other vehicle used for business purposes. Any location at which the associate is representing Aramark, Aramark property, property of Aramark clients, and any work-related setting outside the workplace, such as during business trips, business meetings, company-sponsored social events, off-site catering events, and an Aramark or client-provided housing. Working hours include, but are not limited to, any period during which an associate is at the workplace, including, but not limited to, meal times, rest break times, and overtime, and any period during which an associate is conducting business on behalf of Aramark. Prohibitions. Pursuant to this policy, Aramark associates and prospective associates are strictly prohibited from reporting to the workplace under the influence of alcohol or drugs, being under the influence of alcohol and or drugs during working hours, manufacturing, distributing, dispensing, possessing, using, selling, or offering for sale or trade alcohol or drugs in any manner in the workplace or during working hours. This policy does not affect Aramark associates or prospective associates' ability to engage in the lawful sale, distribution, or use of alcoholic beverages pursuant to Aramark business and or contractual obligations or otherwise in the ordinary course of its business operations. Failure to comply with this policy may result in disciplinary action up to and including employment termination and or the requirement that an associate participate to satisfactory completion in a drug or alcohol assistance or rehabilitation program approved for such purpose by a federal, state, or local health law enforcement or other appropriate agency. The decision to require or allow such participation as a condition of continued employment rests with Aramark management and its sole discretion. Next slide. Drug testing. Aramark may conduct pre-employment or on-the-job drug and alcohol testing of associates or prospective associates, including reasonable suspicion, post-accident, and random testing, pursuant to and in accordance with Aramark's procedures for implementing drug and alcohol testing, Aramark's pre-employment screening and employment background check policy, and applicable federal, state, and local laws. Aramark will not hire or continue to employ any individual whose test results in a confirmed positive unless required by applicable law to allow an associate or prospective associate to satisfactorily participate in a drug or alcohol assistance or rehabilitation program. Aramark also will not hire or continue to employ any individual who refuses to submit to an alcohol or drug test or a drug or alcohol assistance or rehabilitation program when requested to do so. Aramark guidelines for employers as governed by the provisions of the Drug-Free Workplace Act of 1988. Pre-award certification. Aramark will provide a pre-award certification to a federal contractor stating that Aramark will provide a drug-free workplace and will comply with all other provisions under the Drug-Free Workplace Act. Policy distribution. The Aramark manager will distribute to all associates a copy of this policy. All associates will be required to sign a certification that they have received, read, and understand Aramark's policy, and that they acknowledge that compliance with the terms of this policy is a condition of employment. A copy of this signed certification will be retained in the associate's personnel file. Impairment. Impairment caused by legal medications. Medications legally prescribed by a healthcare provider or available over the counter can also affect performance and behavior. Associates should obtain information from a healthcare provider regarding any potential impairment that may be caused by such medications and are required to inform their Aramark managers when the potential exists that the safety of the associate, his or her coworkers, or Aramark's clients or customers or their associates could be jeopardized. The associate may be required to provide a written statement from the healthcare provider concerning the effects of the medication and if those effects impact or could impact the safety of the associate, his or her coworkers, or Aramark's clients or customers or their associates. Associate obligation and instance of drug conviction. Associates are required to notify their Aramark manager in writing of any criminal drug statute conviction as a result of a violation occurring in the workplace no later than 5 calendar days after such conviction. Manager responsibility. Immediately upon receipt by Aramark of any notice that an associate has been convicted of a violation of a criminal drug statute as a result of a violation occurring in the workplace, the Aramark manager will notify the appropriate human resources professional. Notice may occur if the associate notifies the Aramark manager of the conviction per Section 5.0D of this policy, or if Aramark manager otherwise learns of the conviction.